Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Chroma Awards live stream. I'm your co-host Davis.
I'm Maddie.
Hello everybody. So we are constantly live streaming during Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and 12 p.m. like right now and Wednesday. I always have that tendency. I wanted to say constantly because it feels like we just constantly doing it. Almost become my routine in a sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And right now, our submissions are open till November 17th because we hear you, our participants and audience. We do hear you. You require more time, and we check the vote in our Discord. So we decide to move the deadline to November 17th, which is very important. And just keep on watching like our Discord channel. There will be some updates over there. And today, we are having like a very kind of special duo. We want to introduce you because they've been doing something special recently. So, hello, Tony from Kling, and then Kevin from Phantom X. Because recently, I would believe you guys have like a really special screening and a very special project going on, right? Yeah, it's called Echo Hunter, a memory too far. It's like 20, almost 25 minutes and fully like AI film. Definitely involves some live action as well. And today we're just very happy to have both of you being here because Kling is one of our gold sponsor, and they are also kind of presenting this film with Kevin, the kid from Phantom X AI. Yeah. So before we really get into it, both of you, do you have something to share with us a little bit about this project?
Oh, I just want to say stay tuned, and we're going to show a sneak peek, well, not sneak peek, but a section of the full film. And this is really next level stuff. And to me, I think Echo Hunter and Memory Too Far, it represents the highest standard of AI production that you can achieve as an individual creator nowadays. So definitely stay tuned for Kavan's section for his presentation. I'm sure you'll be amazed.
Yeah. Okay. And Kevin, do you have something to share
Just
with
so
us as well?
thankful for those kind words from Tony. Working with Kling and getting to bring this project together to life was truly just an absolutely amazing experience. And getting access to 2.5 and being able to use that to make the film, it was just it was absolutely incredible. And the premiere we had was just to see the stuff on the big screen was mind blowing. So we're just so forever thankful, Tony. It was just amazing.
Yeah, that screening that was awesome. It's rare, like really seeing like a full like AI film really screening on a big screen. I think which is like a next step for the whole community. Okay, now we're going to start with Clean. So, Kevin, I'm gonna put you in the background for now. All right, and we'll talk to you very soon. All right, Kevin. So, before we start, give us a little introduction about yourself, what you're doing in Clean.
Sure. This is Tony from Kling AI. I lead global product marketing and operations at Kling. And fun fact, I'm also the first person who joined the Kling AI team. That's US based or globally based, as most people know that Kling's headquarters is in China. And previously, before Kling, I was also at a popular app called CapCut. I believe a lot of the people here know about
Which is also one of our sponsor. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yes, my career trajectory has a lot of overlap with this industry. And initially, I come from a film producing background, working on development projects, script coverage, script consultation, etc. So that is my background.
Gotcha. And now you are with Clean developing like global marketing in the US, right?
Yes, but not just in the US.
Oh,
Basically,
oh.
the entire English-speaking countries, I would say.
Hmm. Gotcha. Then can you tell us about like what is Clean AI? What does it do?
Of course, for those of you who don't know, Kling AI is quintessentially an AI image and video generation platform. Of course, there are a lot of major players in this field. I think what really sets Kling AI apart is that we have one of the best foundation video generation models out there. But on top of that, we also have a lot of really great control features on our platform. So it's not just a model; it's a model, but also accompanied with control features. That's what we call a creative platform or a creative studio. Um, and when it comes to the model, people know us for, I guess, for three main things. There's going to be the prompt adherence. There's also the dynamics, the motion quality. There's also the image quality, the cinematic visual quality from the generation output. So these three factors combined, our video model is often regarded as one of the best models out there for realism kind of work. And in fact, like last month, we just released our latest 2.5 turbo model, which ranked #1 on both text to video and image to video leaderboards on artificial analysis. So when I say we're the best, it's not just according to me. It's also according to those benchmarking platforms. And previously, I think people have been saying that Kling AI is more on the expensive side, which I don't disagree with. But now with our latest launch of the 2.5 turbo model, we also reduced the price. So right now it is, in my opinion, the best bang for the buck model on the market. And for a 1080p 5-second video clip, it's as low as 15 cents. And with that, you also get the best quality among all the models so far on the market. So to me, that is really a breakthrough.
And does the turbo get the same quality as the other model? Do they kind of have like a similar quality?
Thank you for asking. Well, there's a reason why it's called a turbo model, right? So the non-turbo model, which is going to be our flagship model, that will come pretty soon.
So there's a little different. You got two options over there.
Right.
Nice.
Gotcha.
I just want to call out that someone commented, Tony is so awesome. And I agree.
Thank you, Matty.
Yeah. And I also have to say, like, when looking at the imagery and the videos, some of the physics and like the action, when it comes to like action, Kling does really, really great job on that. And we can definitely see that once later we get to the Kavan session and showing you the Echo Hunter, and you guys can see by yourself. Yeah. And also that's moving on to the next question. Like, how does Kling help like the creators kind of like keep the style consistency and like shot continuity? Like, can you tell us a little bit on this?
Sure. So on our platform, when it comes to consistency among characters or your subjects, we do have some features helping with that. To start with, we have a LoRa custom model available for you to use and train with on the platform. That's based on an older model, but still that's an option to go with. But personally, that's not my favorite because training a LoRa model it can be a lot of work, and also the results is also sometimes you don't get what you desire, even with that much work already devoted to training the model with your data set. So my personal favorite for consistency on our platform is called Elements, which is also one of the favorite, I guess a fan favorite among our users. So for Elements, the idea is simple. Basically, you can take up to 4 images as quote unquote elements in your scene, and then with prompt, you can put the elements together in a scene and generate your video based on your 4 elements together. And those 4 elements could be like one element could be a character. You can have maybe 2 characters. You can also have a background as an element, but you can also have maybe a style reference as an element too. So the possibility is really unlimited with the elements feature. And the best thing about that is you get really great consistency, even with just one single reference image among the elements. So to me, that's why the elements feature, since it was introduced, I guess early this year, it has become one of the most favorite, most used features on the platform by users at all levels.
Yeah.
And I also want to touch that for consistency and the continuity, it's not just on our platform. So I believe nowadays when creators make content, you don't want to stick with one platform. As much as I love Kling, I don't think it's the best option to just go with Kling, right? So when it comes to creative process, sometimes especially recently, we also have been hearing a lot of those combos. For example, Nano Banana plus Clean combo, or sometimes C Dream plus Clean combo. So you can also achieve continuity, consistency in those image generation models, and then what? I guess what you can bring those into Clean to animate those images, and that's going to give you really ideal results. So both on our platform, but also using our tool in combination with other tools. I think these are two approaches you can take when it comes to achieving those consistency.
Yeah. And you can definitely find the clean model. It's on all those like aggregators app. Like a lot of them are also our sponsors, OpenArt, FreePeak, and also LTX Studio. You can definitely get like image model, all kinds of different image model, and also video model. And clean will be included over there. So you can go there and definitely still use clean model when it comes to video generation, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wanted to call out Douglas as a question. Is Elements coming to one of the
2.5
2.5,
turbo.
2.1?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the goal, to migrate existing features and technologies to apply them on newer models. So how this usually works is when we introduce a new model, usually it's only going to have the foundational capabilities, which namely is going to be text to video and image to video capabilities. But later on, once the training on the model gets more stable, once on our end we figure out the efficiency of using the model, of bringing the model to the users, then we bring those existing features onto the newer models, which is something that the team is constantly working on. So rest assured, it is coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy how fast it is.
Yeah.
It
Like
is,
Kling's only like a year and a half old.
yeah. And I'll be super exciting to see elements being added on because like one of my personal project, we definitely use Kling like to get the character and also the dress and like the prop on their hands and even the background, and that's 4 images, and Kling just do it perfectly with the elements. So I really love that. Love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And then, do we have any more question from the chat, Maddie?
No,
anything
I
else?
think we're good.
Okay. Cool.
Count
Okay.
them come in, everyone, if you have questions.
Yeah. Okay. And so, before actually, because I'm not sure about all the audience here, for the elements, do we want to kind of elaborate that a little bit more? It's like it's because you cannot just using it as a character. You can basically upload all kinds of image, right? Because earlier you also mentioned style.
Yeah, style as a reference, objects as well, background as well. It really comes down to how you prompt, and yes, if the model understands your prompt, your designation of those elements as like what exactly are you doing with those elements in your frame, then as long as you have those in the prompt, the model will try to understand it and then interprets from there. So yes, and I do want to point out that sometimes if, let's say, there are like big discrepancies between the styles of your reference images, then sometimes that's trickier to work with. For example, let's say one of your element is in 2D like 2D comic style, and the other one is in photorealistic style. Then obviously it's going to be harder for the model to to decide which route to go with. And then sometimes in that case, you don't get the ideal result. So, but like, let's say if all your elements are more or less in the same kind of style, then the model will also keep the style consistent with all the reference images that you upload. So that's why earlier I mentioned it's not just on the subjects, on the background, etc. It's also on the style. So the model, you'll be amazed at how much the model can pick up and interpret from your reference images.
That's great. But from your description, it should be the creator to kind of make sure what style they are. Maybe the first one is the 2D one and the second one is the 3D one. And what exactly does the creator want to go with? It should be prompted, prompted precisely in their prompt, right?
Exactly. That goes with usage of any models right now. So yes, you can type in a simple sentence and get a result. But if you want to get great result on a consistent basis, then you really need to step up your prompting game and getting yourself familiar with all the tools, so you know how exactly you can make the most use out of the models.
Yeah, perfect. At the same time, I want to shout out to on the chat, Marcelo is saying, yeah, Elements it's a really powerful tool. He uses it on OpenArt all the time, and the quality and consistency are really impressive. Well,
Thank you.
Some voice from the community. Okay, and right now we're going to move on to one of the last questions that we have. Like, what bonus do you guys also offer to support the creators, to support the community, to really let them shine?
Of course. So, to me, having a leading tool in this space, that's definitely the first step, but it's not everything that we do. So in my opinion, there's a lot we can do, not only to help creators make stuff using our tool, but also to get their work seen by the world, to bring their work on bigger stages. For example, today we have the privilege to have Kavan with us, and later on we're going to see Echo Hunter: A Memory Too Far, which is a latest AI film powered with Kling AI's technology. Of course, it's not just Kling AI, but still, when it comes to the eventual video generation, I think most of the scenes were generated using Kling AI's models. And we not only helped Kavan and Phantom X team make their films using our technology, we also hosted a screening party. And really shout out to Phantom X for putting together everything with all the work. And we funded the event, and it was a great turnout with 200 more people at a premiere location in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. So we'd love to help more creators not only make content, but also bring their content onto bigger stages. So recently, we also had our own creative contest. Don't submit to ours because it's already closed. Submit to Chroma Awards. But for our creative contest, we have we got like more than almost 5,000 entries from creators around the globe. And the turnout was really great. And later on, we can show a mixtape, a highlight reel from all the submissions. And on top of that, we also have our Next Gen initiative, which is a project funding and support program where you can apply to receive funding in terms of either cash or technology support. And the goal is that, like I said earlier, and I keep saying that, we want to not only provide the tools for you to make your work, but also to bring your work onto big stages, to help creators emerge from just a creator to maybe Kavan, who will share later to become the big star in the industry. That's our goal.
Yeah, and for the Next Gen initiative, right now you can see me sharing on the screen. At the same time, we're also putting that link on the chat so you can check it out by yourself.
For this video that's on the page that we just took a peek, that was an early example, earlier project initiated from a creator closer to the end of last year in China. So they proposed this idea to our team. We loved it. And guess what? We funded the entire project. And we also promoted a lot about this project. And we also invited the creators to be on stage and share their experiences during our 2.0 global release, which is our biggest product release ever, which was live streamed on global platforms to our users. So And for this project, that's an anthology series with 7 episodes. Each episode is about 15 to 20 minutes long, so they combine it's like almost feature length. And for this project, we spent north of $1 million when it comes to production and promotion of the project, which is definitely very ambitious. And yeah, we do have opportunities like this to help creators not only make content but also get seen by the world.
And yeah, it's beautiful that you guys are getting all this event together to get the creators to move on to the bigger stage. That's really amazing. So next we are going to watch
you.
the latest one. It's Kling Next Gen, because what you described, that was the last event, right? Right now, what we're going to play. Oh,
Yes, yes. So like there are 2 tracks. So for what I described, those are like funding initiatives. But we also hosted a next gen creative contest. So basically, the contest winners they will also get their own showcase. For example, yesterday at MIPCOM in Cannes, France, we screened our official selection during there, which is also one of the largest content market in the world. And at the end of the month, we're also bringing those official selection works winners to the Tokyo International Film Festival to showcase their work there, and also to have maybe a small award ceremony presenting awards to those final winners. And that's going to be making it very special. So the creative contest and the creative contest and the funding initiative, those 2 combined, I think those really summarize our passion when it comes to supporting creators to realize their dreams.
Yeah, you can definitely check that out. And so now let's watch the video together. All right.
We're a bridge between past and future.
Nice one, Juliet.
我今日至此，是为报恩。
Can we distinguish humans and machines? 癒されるって感じかな。
I'm so excited to watch those films. Those all
Yeah,
look so
18th.
good.
That's when it announced, right? 18th.
Yes.
Okay,
Right now,
okay.
the judges, they are reviewing the works. And also a few words about judges. We invite actually people from the industry and not just people working in the AI space. For example, one of the judges, Tim Yip, he was the art director, Oscar winner for his work in Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And we also have Emmy Award winners on our judging panel. So really, for us, it's all about really helping creators go to the next step with the use of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bring the industry together, not just tech
Right.
industry, but the entertainment industry like together. That's really beautiful. Okay. Well, thank you, Tony, for joining with us today. It's amazing to have you and Kevin at the same time. I'm really happy we can put this together.
Yeah. Thank you, Maddie and Davis. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. All right. So goodbye, Tony. Next on, we're going to bring up Kavan.
Hello.
Hello. All right.
Hello.
Before we start to watch the exciting film, can you share with us, give us a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Kavan Cardoza, better known as Kavan the Kid. I'm a filmmaker and co-founder of Phantom X. We're a AI company that focuses on filmmaking, as well as we create ads for very large brands. And just really excited to be here, and really thankful to both of you for having me.
Yeah. So, are we ready? If we were ready, I'm just going to,
Yeah.
because I can't wait to watch it with the audience together right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're gonna jump right into it.
Team getting all the fun. They get the best cards, the highest payouts, and what do we get? Climbing upstairs.
You think the high ground is a bad draw?
Only if you like getting there after the blood dries.
Don't worry, Syra. Sure there'll be a few stragglers left.
I got a card waiting for me with 20 hours of decompression time. For this, they'll probably give us 2. Bullshit.
You having some fun now?
If we don't get at least one, this is all going to be for nothing. Get in here, you know what we have to do. Raymond says it's the only way.
the next 7 Wraith?
Easy. Let's not make any sudden decisions.
What decision? It's already done.
Clear the tower now! We got a Wraith! Evacuate!
We got a live one here!
Ooh, okay. Wow.
Appreciate it.
Really
That-
comes in hot.
That-
Yeah. Wanted to start this one off with like a really intense action piece before we go into the rest of the film. And I think, like it was a way to set up the character's journey. That's played by King Batch, who did just, such a phenomenal job. And it was an incredible honor to work with him.
Mhm.
I want to shout out that the blessing report also said that Kavan is so cool. Which I
Thank
agree
you.
with.
I just want to say, wow, those action scene, the running and the shooting that, and with the editing and everything, I was just like, wow. I noticed that myself. I was really holding the breath. So it's really exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, no, that was, a pretty laborious process, the action sequence. I really wanted to try and push it as far as it can go. Just from having like, normally in AI, like I think, with every iteration of the tools, they're getting better and we're getting closer to being able to have like long takes and action sequences. But I wanted to do like, like a full minute of this like shootout scene and everything. And I think my favorite shot that happens in it is when Cyrus, she's the woman in the pink helmet, when she like shoots the two guys and they fall out the window. Like that was like just such a happy, because then when I originally prompted it was like that she shoots the guys and the glass behind them breaks, but then in the gen, like one of the guys actually fell out the window, and I was like, oh, this is perfect.
I see. So that's a happy AI accident right there.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the beauty of working with AI is you prompt something and then it goes the extra mile and you're like, all right, here we go.
There we go.
I would love to see like the blooper reel of this action scene.
Cool. The funny thing is the blooper reel happens more on shots that you would think would be easier because when you have characters that have like faceless masks, so the AI doesn't have like eyes or a nose or a mouth to identify, it sometimes thinks it's the back of their head. And so even though like you can see the front of their body, the face makes it think it's the back of the head. So then it does some like really funky things, where you're like, don't do this. Like I still think my biggest pain point whenever I do the Echo Hunter series is getting characters to turn their head, like the mask characters to turn their heads. Like I'm just like, and the character looks to their left and it's just like this or like random weirdness. And I'm like, just look this way, please.
I thought at first like without like the the eyes and the nose, it will be easier for AI to kind of just with the kind of the head and mask too, because sometimes it does give you like weird expressions, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that helped, but like you said, it doesn't know it's the front or the back.
Yeah, like walking sometimes can be difficult with a faceless character because they'll, you're like tracking shot and they're like walking towards camera this way. And then what ends up happening is, even though, like, again, like I said, you're looking at the front of their body, they start walking that way and the camera tracks this way. Like, so they're like walking, like backwards, but it looks like they're walking forward. It's just like, so those are like some of the more, like things where you would think, and normally when you have like a character where you have a face, they would do those actions, pretty much on the first gen. So those are like some of the little minor pain points, but with the new updates in the models, this one was a lot easier to achieve, and that's why I did more action and had more elements than the first Echo Hunter, because when I made that first one, the tools, it was, that was to give you an idea of like how fast Kling is advanced. When I used Kling on the first Echo Hunter, it was 1.6.
There was
So,
do you remember that's like how many months ago? I kind of lost track on
I put the first Echo Hunter out on May 27th, and then this one came out at the end of August.
Wow. So just 3 months. Just 3 months.
Yeah.
So many changes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, and that's what just makes everything so exciting. Before this stream started and we were kind of chatting, I've got a new project that I'm developing right now. It's not Echo Hunter. I'm taking a little break. The story of Echo Hunter will continue. I'm just taking a break. Wanted to dive into something a little different than sci-fi, because I feel like between the two Echo Hunter films, I made a Star Wars fan film earlier this year. That I've just been living in sci-fi this whole year. So I was like, okay, I want to like do something else. So this one definitely focuses more on like fantasy and horror. So I'm excited for that, to put that out. But that might not come out till either end of this year or sometime next year.
Cool. But,
and you're already experiencing success with this Echo Hunter film, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's already been selected for 5 film festivals. It won Best AI Film at the New York Film Festival, which was really cool. And we've gotten some great write-ups about it. So, incredibly thankful. And then as it always goes, even from the first one, there's ongoing discussions with studios about either potentially selling the IP, where they would go, I would essentially give them Echo Hunter and hand it over, and they would go make whatever they make with it, probably like in a live action format. But there's also where I've looked at just continuing the story, because even though they're labeled as films, short films, the reason I've always tried to hit that like 20 to 30 minute mark and fall in there is I look at them as like episodes. So they're like episode, like in my dream world, if I could, because it takes, like, when it's just me making the project, it takes me about 2 to 2.5 months to make one of those. If I could turn them out faster, I would, ideally put out 10 in a single year, and then call that season 1. But I'm just kind of taking, the slower approach to it. But I've already got the script for the third one, which I'm really excited about, because as we expand into this world, the third one will go from the perspective of an Echo, which is essentially a clone. And we'll see, like, so, kind of stepping away, the first 2 focus on the Echo Hunters. We'll see it from now the other perspective, and how that whole process works. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I like that. It reminds me a lot of like Blade Runner vibe.
Yes, there's, when I very first came up with the idea behind it was like kind of just taking like several of my favorite films and like mashing them into one, and then you write a story out of that. But like, it was like Blade Runner, RoboCop, The Matrix, and then the biggest element that I really like, the biggest driving point for me about Echo Hunter, and like I wrote this idea like long ago, before AI was a thing. And when I made the first one, I just kind of grabbed this idea from my bucket of ideas, because I knew it would at that time work well with AI because of masked characters, especially in that first iteration. But it was always written that way, with these masked characters that can't take their mask off, with that, like, because they're reanimated corpses, which is essentially, the little bit of the RoboCop influence, and that all of their memories are wiped clean, and they hunt to get little fragments of their past life so they can, just have a sense of feeling like a human again, because they've been kind of completely stripped away from that. But I love the idea of this character that the only time they can remove their mask is in their apartment, which has no reflective surfaces, so they can never actually see what they look like. And there's this constant kind of like nagging need of like, who am I under this mask? Like, who am I really? And what was my life before this? And I think like that's such a driving point of why you would have these people then go hunt these clones kind of without regard to thinking about them as people, and because they're hunting to try and get a piece of their own humanity back.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
And I love how in this series, it's like every episode's a different perspective, but then you also are learning more about the world with each
Yeah,
episode.
world
So
building.
it gives you little nuggets.
So that is the actual they'll give you the full breakdown. The third one expands on the clones, and then my intention is on the fourth episode it'll actually be a direct sequel to the first one, and we'll follow the character of Garrick and his clone daughter Lee, and we'll be following their journey, kind of like as their relationship develops, because spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen the first one, but at the end of the first one, Garrick is set free. Like they destroy his kill switch in his head, and they also the echoes do, and they also return his memories. So he knows who he was now before everything, and he can now take his mask off and function without his head exploding. So he kind of his character gets set up as where the intention is to go with the fourth one is like as an undercover spy that's now working for the Echoes and working from the inside of the Echo Hunter department.
Wow.
Ooh.
She's just like constantly expanding the world.
Yes, yeah, and I introduced some characters in this one that we'll see again. The character of Thane, he's the other Echo Hunter we get introduced to towards the end, that gets partnered with Batch's character. His character, because of the events of what happens in A Memory Too Far, it drives his character down a very specific path as well, and it's not as positive an outcome as the one that Garrick has.
Well, that just sounds amazing. You kind of constantly just building and building, and kind of to bring it back to like world building and how like generative AI kind of playing in as a amazing tool to kind of help you with this process. Can you share with us about a little bit about this, like when it comes to world building or your creative pipeline, the workflow? Like how does this all Gen AI workflow or new tools are helping you to achieve your goal faster?
Yeah, I mean, with each iteration of the tool, we get closer to having truly no limits on the imagination. Back when I very, very first started, I think first tool I used on the video side was Runway Gen 2. So a long time ago, where the characters moved
brushes,
moved like this, like it was essentially like a barely moving image. So you had a lot of limitations, and so you tried to play into those. And then with each iteration as they came out, it got better and more movement. So then you could like kind of expand, like your storytelling. Because I always tried to like tell a story that would fit the functionality of the tools, so I wouldn't have any things that go like really wonky or look really bad. But there's times where you're like, you're writing something and you're like, oh, this would be so cool, but through this journey where I was like, AI's not there yet, I can't do this. And so as we've gotten each better, I mean, like I just get more excited every time there's a new tool drop. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but it just seems like the doors keep opening, and you're like, okay, now I can really go down like some wild rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So this next, because I'm obsessed with world building, I have the Echo Hunter series that will be ongoing. I have another series that I was just mentioning, the like more surrealist, Tim Burton kind of vibes one that I'm developing, but it's also set in like a very expansive world. It'll be similar to Echo Hunter in the aspect of, each episode will kind of focus on different characters in this world, but they will definitely start intertwining as the series develops. So like, I'm not talking too much about that one, as we're in the very, very, very early development stages of it, but I already have like the entire scripts written for the first few. And what I think is fun about this one, that I wanted to try and, do something else with the first episode, there's no dialogue.
Nice.
So it's just an entirely dialogue, 15-minute film with
no dialogue.
No dialogue at all. Yeah. Just sounds and music.
Yeah. And you just, I believe you told us about kind of that earlier. Like this time you're trying like a different workflow on it.
Yeah. So like with, the first Echo Hunter, there was no Nano Banana. So that was a lot of tedious work in Midjourney. Midjourney first, and at the time they had the Omni reference one, and I had to just keep going, and then eventually it's like, okay, it's close enough. Then I'd go into Photoshop and then fix like all the inconsistencies, which took a lot of time. And then on A Memory Too Far, Nano Banana came out when I was like already like, I think 17 minutes into a 24-minute film. So like I was doing the same process, like so much Photoshop, like all of the shots with two characters in the same frame. Like essentially I would generate them in, similar lighting styles, and then, Photoshop one of them into the other image. And then, another thing that came out was the harmonize feature in Photoshop, which really helped for lighting purposes and things like that. But like getting correct framing and coverage and all of that stuff, a lot of it was, like making the base images in Midjourney with a heavy amount of Photoshop. And then once Nano Banana came out, and it was like the doors just blew open, where I was like, oh my gosh, like getting coverage now is just so much easier, and maintaining character consistency, because I mean, it really does. It's at a point now, like, where like on this new project I'm doing, what's like, I wanted to really push Nano Banana. The main character has so many details, pouches and things and little elements and all of that. And I was like, I wonder if it's actually going to maintain every one of those details. And sure enough, it does. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like even down to the finite details in his hat and things like that. So now, like, and same with location. The location is, you're like, show me, this from this angle close up, but it's that location just from that different angle. So it's like, we're now really in a point where we can tell stories, and we're not running into those, really having to play into the suspension of disbelief of like, okay, if it's 90% close enough, the audience that's watching it, if I get them into the story, they're not going to be like, at least on a first viewing, being like, oh, that's inconsistent, like they're going to be in the story. But now we're past that. And so that's where, as each tool, to Tony's point when he was on here earlier, like combining Nano Banana or Seedream, because Seedream is also just absolutely incredible for the same things of character consistency and different locations. They each have like a different style and output, which I like. So I jump between the two all the time, especially if like one maybe isn't getting the shot as well as I like, then I go to the other one, and sometimes it works that way. So it's just, I really feel like we've hit this point, and I've said this on a lot of past interviews, where I felt like by the end of this year, we would be able to make stuff that could be streamer ready. And I think we're there. Like, I genuinely think we can make stuff, it can go on a television, and an audience will watch it, and they'll have no problem. And I'm talking like, not, all of us who are in this AI space. I mean, a general audience person, they can put it on, because there's now none of those inconsistencies that they might have pulled them out. Like, they're going to be completely submersed. So it always comes back to, and what I've always said, AI is the tool. The real strength comes in, in the storytelling and the scripts and everything. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, is because everyone across the world has different perspectives, different journeys, and different things and different stories to tell. And where my small, I wouldn't say beef, but my small issue with Hollywood films is I feel like they've become so repetitive and so copy and paste that, you know, I don't get excited to go to the movie theaters like that I used to when I was a kid, when there was, you know, 5 original films coming out. Now everything's, you know, has to be based on something or an iteration of something or a sequel or this or that. And like, I'm all down for sequels. Obviously, I just made one with Echo Hunter, but like, I think when I say sequels, like unnecessary sequels, like a
Yeah.
film that's like, it ends and you're like, okay, that was a great story. And then it's like, and now we're going to make another one. It's like, but why? You know, like there's no it's like, cause it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that unnecessary sequel need. I think this is going to open the door to, also, you know, I think it's no secret that there's some level of gatekeeping in Hollywood that, you know, they kind of fine tune of like who's the voices. There's a reason why it's always the same, you know, roughly to 30 to 50 actors and actresses in every single movie, where it's like all of these things are going to change and we're going to get such unique stories. And I'm a big believer of good storytelling will always rise to the top. So no matter if you have a big following, a small following, or this, if you have a real story to tell and you know, you really thought it out and stuff, and then you use these tools. And another thing I always try to say, because I think it gets lost, you know, in the space of AI, because everything moves so fast, is it's okay to take your time. Taking your time to develop a story and to really fine tune, you know, that the narrative that you want to tell. You know, once you get into actual production, that's another thing, because yeah, you're always racing against the tools and the updates. But I think when you're on the paper and you're writing that, there's no rush to you know, have to get something out. And yeah, I think that's, you know, that's what I'm most excited about. And I'm excited to see hopefully from more creators a lot of long form content.
Yeah, and there was, you already answered a question that was I was going to ask you, like, what do you want to tell like people here who are attending Chroma Awards? What a suggestion do you have for them? But you already answered that, which is perfect. But I do, speaking of the big screen and what we were talking about TVs and films. So I also want to touch on like for your first Echo Hunter, you guys were the first one ever to have a contract with SAG, like the Actors Guild, right? Like I really want to check on that. Like, can you share with us about like some of the details of that?
Yeah, of course. You know, how that came to be was I had reached out to a friend. His name's Jonathan Younger. He's the CEO of Arcana, but he's also the head of Millennium Films, and which is a live action production film company. And I knew, you know, he knew a bunch of actors. And after I did the Star Wars film, I really wanted to make like an original piece, and I wanted to use real actors for it. So I was like, hey man, do you know of like any actors that like would possibly be interested in working on an AI project? And it was very casual at first. And I had made the first minute and a half, and that's when he had mentioned Brecken, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that would be crazy. You know, Brecken's, you know, like been in massive movies. He had his own show, Franklin and Bash. He's the voice or like one of, I mean, like he voices so many characters in Robot Chicken, you know, just like a real stalwart. And so I was like, yeah. And so we sent it to Brecken, and he absolutely loved it. But to bring Brecken on would mean like we would have to get this thing SAG approved. And so, and then from there, we started filling out the rest of the roster with Taylor John Smith, Danielle Busuti, Hannah Balaki, Gideon Burkhardt. So, and all of them are SAG actors. So we reached out to SAG, And the co-founder of the other co-founder, there's 3 co-founders of Phantom X, myself, Mike J. Mitch, and Sav. So Mike, he was the producer on the first Echo Hunter. You know, he reached out to SAG and started negotiating these deals. And we first approached it as a live action deal because they didn't have AI deals at this point. And then they wanted to do animation, but we were like, well, we're doing motion capture with the faces and using Runway Act 1, now Act 2, but at the time Act 1. And so like, you know, their facial performance is going to be transposed. So we're like, yeah, it's not like, you know, the high end tech of Avatar, but how is it different? I mean, it's the same thing. Like they're capturing their faces and putting it into a CGI character. So I'm like, why can't we be classified as live action? Like, why does it have to be classified as animation? And so we eventually brokered a deal with them where they called it new media. And that was the deal that we had with SAG. But it became a, you know, a fully SAG approved film. And it, you know, recorded all the actors and put it out. And now things have changed a lot. Even presidents, you know, the new president of SAG is Sean Astin, who's, you know, best known for playing Sam in Lord of the Rings, and Rudy, a very old football movie. But you know, and they've, you know, both on the commercial side and the film side, they have now made contracts that specifically pertain to if you're making an AI film and using actors, and how that structure works.
It's like new media, like the
yeah, but it's now literally it's instead of calling it new media, they call it like AI film or AI commercial. So like there is an actual AI contract now for these actors. Like in the original contract on the new media one, that was like an interesting tidbit that I think will also, I haven't actually reviewed the new contracts myself, but I would imagine they have a clause in it that was similar to our new media deal, was when you pay the actors for their time, you get to use them because you're recording them in one day, but you're capturing their likeness. You know, we're taking a bunch of photos to build a digital model of them. And I have the right to use that digital model of them for the duration of everything you see in that film. So in the first Echo Hunter, I believe it's 22 minutes. So everything in that 22 minutes, I'm approved for. But if all of a sudden I go and use Brecken's face and make like a little 1 minute video that I put off out on the side, that is a breach of contract, which is completely illegal, you know, and because he needs to be paid for that, because that would be no different if it was live action that I'm like bringing him back to shoot again, which he would be paid for. So like in the deal we had it where we would destroy the models after the completion of the film, which we did. Yeah, so the models no longer exist of those actors. So if
so for that third episode,
gonna have to rebuild it. But now, but now we don't necessarily have to build models, because like one of the most amazing things is like you can use Seedream. Literally, like I was doing some experiments the other day where I had an actress and I took her headshot and she had a very specific makeup design, like on her eyes. And I prompted that image, you know, and was like, hey, but put her in like a black, you know, turtleneck, like with like a, you know, the gun straps and all this. So it does it, but her face has the same makeup. And I was like, whoa. What I can do now is I can actually do a shoot day with an actress, hire a makeup artist, and do very specific makeup looks for that. Like, okay, she's in this scene, she's gonna have this kind of a look, this, and same with actors. Like if I want like their hair wet and messy in one, but then like it's like slicked back and clean, like you can do these individual shots, plug them into something like Seedream, and it's gonna maintain that exact like how they look in that image, which I thought was like really impressive for now bridging live action and AI and the whole Hollywood medium of making it work in unison. Is like this way, like makeup artists would still have a job and get to work on films, you know, like they're still like, even if you wanted to do costume design and upload the whole costume as opposed to designing the costume in AI. There's a film that I'm in early development with right now at Sony that like that's the approach we will be taking, is we'll actually be building the costumes in real life. and then creating digital models of those costumes to use, because they're so intricate in designs that I don't think we'd be able to achieve them in AI, and it's based off of an existing IP, so it has to follow like what it looked like in that IP.
It's
Wow.
cool. And it's definitely like exactly what you're saying in terms of bringing this to the next level, getting it in distribution on streaming platforms. Like this is a necessary step, like all the paperwork and the SAG
Absolutely.
agreements and
Yeah,
bringing
I
all
mean,
these
and
parties together.
Yeah.
there's a lot of elements that have to go through, especially using AI, and like one of the hot topics is like how the models were trained. But I'm a big believer of, it's not about like what something's trained on, because that'd be no different than if like I see a David, I'm a director, I see a David Fincher movie, I'm like, wow, I want my movie to look just like this, and I tell the DP, the director of photography, look, we're going to light it exactly like how he lit Seven. I'm not going to get sued for that, even though like my film could end up looking exactly like Seven on a lighting style. It's just a lighting style. But where the problem is like if I'm in AI referencing, like I'm like, make my thing like David Fincher, like I'm using his name, as opposed to like if you approach it from a technical aspect of like, describe that lighting, describe those cameras, describe those lenses, because that's no different than how we would do it in a live action setting. So I think there's ways that we have to approach in our prompting and in our design. And with AI, like I've seen so many unique visuals, that creators have created that, I feel like I've never seen before, but that all came from, data that's trained, off of existing data. But that is just how even the human mind works. We're not going to know how to do something or explore to do something new without learning what came before.
Yeah. I think
100% agree.
this like thoughtfulness on how we're prompting, like all the other guests that we've had who've also made these inroads in Hollywood, like Reza and Eleanor, like it's also something that they're thinking about heavily, because it's part of the business and also it's part of retaining your own creative identity and knowing
100%.
that this is your artistic vision.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is such a point now where you can really define your voice and your style, and no different than anything that there is. I think that's such an important element, is trying to do things that really stand out. Like a perfect example that I always love to use. There's a few AI artists that I'm so like enamored with their work. One of them being NeuralViz. I think like the world he has built up is so incredible and so unique, and very much like his own style, and but where like the majority of that comes from is like the characters are hilarious and fun, the way they look. But I mean, you could say, oh well, that kind of looks like Men in Black, or that kind of looks like this. What makes it so much his own is the writing. And that goes back to what I was saying about the storytelling. It's the way he writes the characters, the way they talk, the jokes they make, and all that. It's so unique and uniquely his that it's like, it's not like anything we've seen before. And so like, that's, where I think the true strength comes out, is like, what is this story you're trying to tell, and how are you going to do it?
Yeah. And I really like that we're always kind of bringing back to all this essence. Eventually, it's how you tell the story, and it's about the story, because all the other things that can just be style, and definitely we learn from people before us, and then we kind of just adapt to it. Yeah. And
so that's how you win the Chroma Awards, everyone.
Yeah. Sorry. I like how you just. Yeah. And it's just super exciting to hear now SAG is also kind of moving on and getting all this like ready. So even if there are some audience over there, you want to do some hybrid, you want to bring actors, see, it's possible. It's definitely possible to do it.
It's 100% possible. I think like the main thing is, is doing everything is it's such a new space. So a lot of things are shocking, especially for, what's for people in Hollywood. I mean, the industry has essentially stayed the same for 100 years, with slight changes. So it's such a revolution now with AI because so many things are changing and approach is changing and all that. But I think like if you maintain like still doing it in an ethical way, like if you're going to use actors, make sure that they get paid, and if not, like if they're either coming on as a passion project and they're donating their time, or like you're paying for their time, but as opposed to like going and like what I did a long time ago in my Batman film, where I just used Robert Pattinson and Jeffrey Wright and all those guys, and just straight, but it was a fan film. But again, like I just made that without anyone's permission, and probably part of the reason why I was only on the internet for 4 days.
Do as I
Yeah.
say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And now we are getting to the 1 hour. So I just want to say thank you, Kevin, for being here with us and sharing with us Echo Hunter and Memory Too Far. If you want to check the whole film, it's right now on the YouTube, right? You can just search for it and watch the whole film of the YouTube. Yeah, so it's just great to have you here. And remember our chat deadline now is November 17th. So you still have like almost like a month to get your film, get your shorts, or get your social media work ready and submit to us. Yeah. I just want to say thank you once again. And we'll probably see you next week on Monday at 7 p.m. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.